Why don't you have a seat? I want to have a talk. Now, my name is Jerrel from Sungran Studios, the developer of the Silver Falls games. If you don't mind, today I'll be reading from a prompter as I have some topics I would like to discuss with you today. But first, welcome and thanks for watching my video. Now, I really want to discuss the topic of having distributed thousands upon thousands of download tickets to people who wanted to enjoy their 3DS and Wii U games one final time after the eShop closure. To start things off, I am all out of download tickets, so there isn't really a point to sending me a DM to ask for a download ticket, commenting anywhere. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get a ticket to you. I've handed out all of the tickets that I had available, so there are no download codes, no download tickets. But I want to thank everyone who has reached out, and I especially want to thank everyone who is actually playing and enjoying these games as opposed to just downloading the game and hoarding it to a digital collection. So, what happened when we gave out these tickets? So, firstly, I need to apologize to everyone who I was not able to get a ticket to. I especially need to apologize to my Discord community because I unleashed hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of visitors to the Discord, and I want to thank everyone in the Discord who helped me manage that, even before I could ask them for assistance. So thank you to all of you. And it is my fault because I did not anticipate receiving hundreds of DMs an hour and thousands of DMs a day requesting my games. The fact of the matter is, I've never had this much attention or this much demand for my games before. Despite working my absolute hardest, doing my best, reaching out to as many content creators and as many websites as possible, unfortunately, I was never able to reach that amount of attention. But what has earned me attention is that the eShop has now ended. I can no longer make any money off of the games that I have created, spending hundreds of hours, thousands of hours creating, but now that I can hand out a handful of free copies of these games to people who missed out on them, now I'm receiving thousands upon thousands of queries a day for people telling me that they really wanted to enjoy my games, but they missed out. So for everyone that has missed out, I do apologize to you. I tried to make these games as fast as I could and get them launched as soon as I could. Unfortunately, 3 Down Stars was only available for 3 years, so I'm sorry if you weren't able to get it in that time. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers plus Ruby River was only available for 2.5 weeks. And that is especially why I pushed so hard to give out as many of these copies of these games as I could. So if I was able to get a game to you, I'm very glad, and I hope that you are enjoying the game. So, I don't even want to look at my DM inbox for any of my social media platforms because I have thousands of DMs in my inboxes. And what my DM inbox is full of is people who are angry at me, saying that I screwed them out of getting a copy of my game. It's because of me that they can't get a copy of my game and enjoy it. So that's quite unfortunate that people are blaming me for ruining their chances at enjoying my game, but these people are messaging me after the eShop has closed. For the weeks leading up to the closure of the eShop for 3DS and Wii U, I was directly reaching out to people as much as I could, running numerous giveaways, and I gave out more than 1,000 copies of my games and more than 15,000, well, the first one was more than $10,000 of Silver Falls games. So I don't understand why people are angry at me for ruining their chances at enjoying the games that I've been trying to get to them. Secondly, I see people blaming Nintendo, and people are saying, oh, it's Nintendo's fault, they've ruined it, now I can't get this game, I can't enjoy this game. So I like to steer clear of any sort of negativity. I am a game developer, I am also a publisher, I work in marketing and public relations, but Nintendo is a professional partner, they are a business partner and a working partner, and I believe that a good leader needs to be understanding, generous, but above all, a good leader needs to be firm. So at this point, I will need to put my foot down, and I will kindly ask that people stop blaming Nintendo for ruining their chances to enjoy these games. It is because of these It is because of Nintendo that we even have these games to begin with. The immense amount of goodwill and hard work that Nintendo put in, Nintendo did not have to put in all of this extra work, but they did so because they wanted to bring these final Silver Falls games to you, and we coordinated together to make sure that you had a way to enjoy and celebrate the end of the eShop, especially for the 3DS and Wii U. So I will kindly ask you to please try to consider your negativity towards Nintendo. And why that is because I had worked for the past 12 months more than 130 hours a week to get these games to you. 6 games. I was able to finish developing them as a solo developer. And I would not have been able to do it without Nintendo. You can imagine that developing for 130 hours a week for 12 months is quite demanding for a single person. And there were many instances where each of my games had reached a point where I was not able to hit target deadlines with the product that needed to be presented. And so the games just had to be canceled. I had to accept one developer could not possibly handle all of this work. Nintendo stepped in numerous times to save these titles, and they put in an immense amount of work. So I will have to be firm, and I will not accept any negativity towards Nintendo, because it is Nintendo that made these games possible for all of you. I did my absolute best to market these games, but unfortunately it was extremely difficult to get content creators and websites to even mention my games. For those of you that have mentioned the games, the content creators and the websites, I'm extremely grateful to you. But, for example, with White Inside Its Umbra, we could not even get mainstream websites to even announce the launch of the game. It is extremely challenging. But Nintendo stood by me throughout this entire process, and they supported me to get these games to you. And even in these final days, Nintendo has allowed us to distribute these codes even after the eShop has closed. Nintendo made it possible so I could get these final games to you. So for people to continually send me hundreds of DMs a day harassing me, telling me that it's my fault they can't enjoy my games when those people have not even heard of my games before, and for people to blame Nintendo is not correct. And so I'll politely ask you to please consider your actions. Nintendo wanted us to enjoy this console as much as we could, and I wanted to get as many games as I could to you. But unfortunately, there's only a very limited number of digital copies that I can distribute. Each download code is unique, and there is a very limited number of those, and I distributed all of them to as many people as I could. Now, some of the worst responses that I've seen are as follows. I've been receiving messages, responses, DMs from people saying that they are mad at me for not giving them a free copy of my game, which they had never heard before, but they really wanted to play it after the eShop closed. And they said from now on they're just going to pirate my games in the future, and they're just going to pirate Nintendo games. So let me explain to you in the simplest terms I can what is different about an independent developer and a AAA studio developer. A AAA studio is making games to take your money. They're earning money, and they need to take as much of it as possible. An independent game developer like me and the various developers for the 3DS and Wii U who supported those consoles right up to the end, we are creating games for you. We want to give you a fun experience. We want to make games for you. It is, in general, the truth that AAA studios are making games to earn money. You are going to find exceptions to the rule, AAA studios who really believe in what they're making, but it is going to be a rule of thumb that those AAA studios will be using microtransactions, and they will be manipulating and forcing you to give them as much money as possible. They will also be using live service games, and they will waste as much of your time as possible to manipulate you into giving them more money. This is how the game industry works. This is not how independent game developers work. Game developers have different objectives. AAA studios want to give you a terrible time so that you will give them more money. Independent developers want to give you a good time. They want to give you a good, enjoyable game. Independent developers have less resources, they have less support, and they are generally, almost all the time, internally funded. So let me explain to you what happens when people pirate independent developer games. I am an independent developer. All of my development is internally funded. I do not have external funding. That means that I have complete creative control over my products, but it means that I have to put in an immense amount of work. I still work more than 130 hours a week, and I need to wind that down, as my health has taken a significant hit. But over the past 5 years or so, I've only purchased 2 video games. You might think that's strange for a game developer, for someone who develops games should be enjoying games. I have purchased Smash Brothers Ultimate, and I have purchased Pokemon Scarlet, and I have not been able to purchase any other games because I have to pay myself by earning revenue through my games. If people pirate my games, I will not be earning any revenue. How it works for me, I'm not sure for other independent developers, but I barely skate by the skin of my teeth. I can just barely pay my personal finances. I pay the fees for my business, my operating costs, and I don't even get a wage for my working hours, the hundreds and hundreds of hours I put in, the thousands of hours to develop each game. So, if people have the mentality of thinking, I will just wait until this independent developer gives out free copies of their games, I'll just wait until that developer puts their games 90% on sale. This is what's going to happen. If independent developers are not able to earn money through their games, they will not be able to make games. That means that their independent studio will shut down, and they will have to find a job somewhere else where they can reliably make money, which means that they'll maybe get a job as a builder, or a postman, or an accountant. But they will be in a situation where they won't be able to create games. And if independent game developers are not there bringing creativity and passion to the game industry, then we will see an exacerbation of AAA studios further pushing the line of in-game monetization, of psychological manipulation, and of live service. This is not good for the game industry, if you can process that. What do you want? Do you want a game that was made by someone who is setting out to share something with you based on passion and creativity, who wants to give you a fun experience? Or do you want games that force you to keep putting money in to hopefully randomly give you an advantage in that game? I'll let you decide that for yourself. Now, here's what is quite the predicament here. Because I understand that people are not able to just keep spending money on games. I, like many people, do not have the disposable income to pick up new video games all the time. And that is why I put games on sale. I even launch my games at lower prices so it's easier for people to pick up. And again, I run regular giveaways. And it takes an immense amount of work to filter through the people who just want a free game, don't care what it is, they just want something free, and they want to win something, and the people that genuinely want to play a game but just don't have the disposable income for it. What is quite frustrating is, of all these hundreds of messages that I'm receiving every few hours, people have said this: oh, I really wanted to get into the Silver Falls games, I'm really interested in them, but I just happened to miss them because you ran out of tickets. It's my fault that I ran out of tickets. And so I will respond to people as many as I can, and I let people know there are 2 free games that you can get from the Silver Falls website, so you can enjoy the character, the gameplay, and the stories of Silver Falls. You can get those 2 games and enjoy them for free. And if you like Silver Falls, then you can look into the Switch games, as there are 2 games currently in the Silver Falls series on Nintendo Switch. And 99% of those DMs, people stop responding after that. So to me, that tells me that people were not actually interested in my games. They were not interested in playing and enjoying Silver Falls. They were interested in receiving something free. This is problematic for an independent game developer, because if you give away everything for free, you won't be able to earn any money, which means you will have to shut down your studio. For people that have been around with Silver Falls supporting me for a while now, you might know that there were numerous instances where I was about to push the button and shut down Sungrand Studios, and that would have been the absolute end of Silver Falls. And there are two things that stopped that from happening. There's immense support from the Silver Falls community, the handful of people that supported me from the very beginning that were telling me that they really enjoyed the games and they really don't want to see the studio shut down, and from the immense support shown from Nintendo. Nintendo went well out of their way and they put an immense amount of work to help me bring these games to you. And those are the two reasons why I am still here. But, to long and short of it, to be totally honest, there's a real chance that my studio still can shut down, because I can no longer earn any revenue from my 3DS and Wii U games. And I created those games understanding that. This is not a complaint for me. I'm willing to put in the hours and the time and the effort in order to keep working to get new games brought onto the Switch. But this problem is quite disturbing to me because it lets me understand that there's a good chance that the majority of the download tickets that I've distributed have not gone to people that are actually interested in playing my games. The dozens of hours that I've spent over the past few weeks distributing these tickets have gone to people that have no interest in my games. So, unfortunately, I have had to waste an immense amount of time. And I know that there are a handful out there who have enjoyed my games that I was able to get a ticket to, and people who have commented and let me know that they're enjoying the games, and that they are on the Discord, they're on Twitter and on YouTube videos, and they're sharing their excitement for these games. And to all of you, I only apologize that I couldn't spend more time chatting with all of you directly, sharing more of the games with you, and just talking about gaming. So I apologize that I can't spend more time with you chatting, but I'm grateful that I was able to get a code to you, and I want to thank you for enjoying my games. So, in conclusion, I just want to help you understand the difference between a AAA studio and an independent game developer. AAA game studios are there for themselves. Independent game developers are here for you. So, the next time you see a game that you think looks interesting but you'll just try to get it for free, or you'll wait until it's 90% off, I hope you'll consider the people behind the computer screen who is making that game for you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Sometimes we will have to share a real talk with each other. I don't like to focus on negativity. I want to spread positivity in the world, but this is a matter that has become increasingly important, especially in the past week, and it is a topic that does need to be discussed. If you have any input on the matter, I would be interested in hearing from you, so feel free to send a comment. But lastly, we are all out of download tickets.